All right, guys, how y'all doing? This is the Not Okay podcast, and I am Zach, and this is Tyler. And we tried to bring this episode to you last week, but we had some internet issues in the neighborhood and wasn't able to do it. And we're excited about bringing it today.
Yeah, man. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm excited to finally be back and be live with you guys. We took a short break. We're just two average guys like we talked about in the beginning, so we had some life stuff that we had to get to, right?
Yeah.
But this episode is actually really cool, one that I'm super passionate about, and Zach is actually going to teach us a little bit of history. He's going to school us today, so you're going to learn something that you might not have known before. He is going to be talking about Michelin Stars and what those are.
So it was a surprise to me, and it actually kind of got me a little bit excited whenever I realized, not probably 2 months ago, that the Michelin Star is attached to the Michelin Tire Company.
Yeah.
I did not know that they were one and the same.
I did not either.
And I felt like an idiot whenever I figured it out, because it seems like it should have just made sense.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the name, right, is the first thing that would bring you to what should make sense. But who would have thought tires and restaurants would have gone together? I mean, those aren't just two logic. You don't logically go from tires to restaurants.
No, you don't. And that's one of the interesting things about the Michelin Star is that it didn't just go straight from, tires to restaurants.
Right. So tell us how you got there.
Okay.
How did they get there, Zach? Tell us.
So the Michelin brothers, they started a little thing called the Michelin Guide back in 1889.
Okay.
All right. This is around the beginning of cars coming into existence.
Sure.
And travel just wasn't a common thing where you could get somewhere fairly quickly.
All right.
All right. So the brothers had this really good idea that said that when you bought a set of tires, you got this thing called the Michelin Guide.
Okay.
And it had a list of gas stations. It had a list of mechanics. It even had a guide on how to change a tire on the side of the road.
Well, that would make sense coming from a tire company, right?
And this all started in their hometown in France. Right?
France.
Yes.
Why is it that I thought Michelin was an American company?
It's because they're everywhere.
I guess in America, right?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that thought Michelin was... All right, so when you started this process and you started to dive into it, did you think Michelin was an American company, or did you know they were from France?
I did not know they were from France. To be honest with you, it never crossed my mind where they were from. I always just assumed that they were an American-based company just because...
we're self-centered human beings here in America. Everything's from America. Everything good is from America. Okay, sorry, keep going.
But yeah, so they developed this guide, and they figured out that people loved it, and they started adding in little tidbits as they go. They started hiring cartographers. Cartographers.
It's a tough word.
Yes, it is. Really good map drawers. And they actually still have some of the best maps of Europe in existence.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went into a little bit of a search. Okay. And when you look up Michelin maps, they're everywhere on the internet of Europe and France.
Like old Michelin maps?
Like new ones, old ones.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Are they still doing it?
It looks like they're still making and updating maps.
Oh, really? Seriously? Yes. Even with Google Maps and Google and all that?
Yep.
I guess it's just the tradition, right? I mean, the French, it's the whole European thing. They're into their traditions over there. Anyways, I keep throwing you off.
No. You're good. You're good. So as time went on, and when you get around to the 1920s, before this, the publication was completely free.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
And
except if you bought a pair of tires.
Yeah, but there were so many copies of it. It wasn't hard to get your hands on a copy of the Michelin Guide.
Okay.
And so you see this transition after one of the brothers goes into a tire shop and sees the Michelin Guide holding up a table. And this upsets him just a little bit.
Right.
And he develops this philosophy after this is people only want what they pay for.
Okay, I'll go a step further. People only appreciate what they pay for.
Yeah.
What they sacrifice for. Money is sacrifice, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a paperback sacrifice when you pay for something. So yeah, okay. Yeah.
And so once they started doing the paid part of it, they started like investing back into the guide. Right. At this point, they started hiring people to go around and like go to local places and rate them and like secret shopper type stuff.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
And that's whenever the guide started coming out, and it started focusing on restaurants. I believe it's like 1926. Yeah. So it was restaurants and hotels, and the first award was given in 1926.
Okay, and it was a star award?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, the Michelin Star does not look like a star.
No. I keep learning things here. Okay, why call it a star if it doesn't look like a star? Is there any way you can show me?
I sure can. Yeah, it is
a star that doesn't look like a star. Perfect. Yep, that's not confusing at all.
Yeah. I don't know why they called it wrong keyboard. All right. Sorry. Images. So,
can you?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So this right here, guys, is the Michelin. Like, I don't like. Do you call that a star?
It kind of is. It did Yelp rip them off? Doesn't it kind of look like the Yelp?
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see.
All right. So the first star was in 1926. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
I'm terrible at getting Zach sidetracked. I was just so enamored with the fact that. Yes, it does.
It does.
I told you. Oh, that is almost copyright infringement.
It is real close. There's a few less clovers or less petals, but
I guess that's how you get them. And one is obviously more when one's larger than the other. That is awfully close, though.
That is very close.
And what does Yelp do? Yelp reviews restaurants.
That's
I didn't know that. That is
a little bit.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it making the connection? Conspiracy theory. You heard it here first.
Yep. So that is the first Michelin star was given in 1926. I couldn't find what I was actually given to.
Okay, yeah,
but it was. It's pretty cool that it goes back that far, right? And so you have this period of like 40 years before they're actually giving their first award. And so it really made a big transition starting in the 20s.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Before they found their niche, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were started off as something and transitioned into something else.
Mm-hmm. So after that, they developed a 3-star system in 1936. All right.
10 years after their first award.
They developed their 3-star system.
Okay.
And this is, I actually really love this rating system.
Okay.
All right. So if you get 1 star, 1 Michelin star, all right, that means high quality cooking worth a stop. Okay.
All right.
2 stars is excellent cooking worth the detour.
Oh yeah. So off your normal route to go to this
we're going to go
restaurant.
out of our way to go to this one, right?
Sure.
And 3 stars is exceptional cuisine worth a special trip.
Yeah.
All right.
Does that still hold validity today? Do you think it's still a good rating system today? Or have people just have completely forgotten? Well, first off, the average person doesn't know what the stars mean anyways. You probably have to be in the industry.
Yeah. I would say that if the average person heard that it was a Michelin star restaurant, they don't know if it's 1, 2, 3 stars. Like it's not. But yeah, that gets kind of like to where we are now, where the star is super important for for a lot of restaurants. Mm-hmm. Like it is like the end all be all of ratings. And this is something that
all this time later, that's wild. Almost 100 years after they gave their first award, they are still using this system to judge the quality of the restaurant and the chef and ownership. That says something. That an award still means that much. Now,
yeah.
my true question is are the people judging this system worth their? They have to be, right? If the industry itself still validates this system, then the people that are doing the judging have to be legit.
Yeah, and that is something really interesting about their judging process is they have judges who go out and secret shop, right? Or secret dine. And they will visit a place like 12 times before they give them the award.
And it's a secret shop, right?
And
it's not like when a food critic comes in.
Yeah, it's not like a food critic comes in. And it's so secret who the people are that like only like 3 people in the company know who the secret shoppers are.
That makes that even better. They're like ghost Michelin Star agents that only 3. Wow. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, actually. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they visited the restaurant like 12 times.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because now what we're doing is we're eliminating the ability for somebody to have an off night. Now we can we have a sample size, and in that sample size, it's statistics, right? Yeah. Anyways, all right, cool.
Yeah, and okay, so this is this is kind of my last point, but this is also one of my favorite things about the whole system.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so if you don't know, the Michelin Man has a name.
Yeah, it's Michelin Man.
No, it's Bib.
Bib
the Michelin Man.
Okay.
All right? And they have a category called the Bib Gourmand, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
All right.
That sounds right.
Yeah. It is great food at a moderate price.
Really?
Yeah. And so they have a list of restaurants that, like, I'm assuming, like, while their guys are driving around, like, dining at places, they stop at these random places that are decently priced.
Sure. That are never going to get a Michelin star, but they want recognition.
Yeah.
Do they still have...
It is not based on the interior of the restaurant.
No,
It is strictly the food.
Food, really?
Like, it's not based on the service.
Okay.
So
all
it
right.
is...
Okay.
This is good food.
All right. Just good food.
Yep.
Where can I find that list? That's the list I want to see.
Yeah, so you can
the
find
average man.
The Michelin Guide is on the internet. Like, you can...
Okay.
Like, Michelin has it. Now, here's where it gets a little bit sad. All right? They don't go hardly anywhere. Wait
a minute. What do you mean?
California, like in the U.S., it's California,
okay.
New York, Chicago. They don't even have anything for Dallas or Houston.
Okay.
Like, it is...
Or Atlanta, which is like the New York of the South.
Yeah. It's just like Washington, D.C., it's New York, it's Chicago.
I guess you can't be everywhere all the time.
No,
you can't. And then,
too,
also, you can't water your list down.
You can't. And I imagine that it may follow chefs more than it does actual restaurants.
That makes sense.
So if like you have these like big cooking schools and you get these guys come out of it and they get like, I imagine that has a lot to do with how, and this is just speculation. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it does actually follow the chef. I don't know. You know what? I'm only saying that because I've watched TV shows. I have no idea if it's freaking...
If you're a Michelin...
You're the one teaching me.
Yeah,
so
if you're a Michelin chef, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that restaurant loses Michelin star after you leave. Are you still a Michelin chef?
Like, a Michelin star chef? A one-star chef?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I imagine that's huge hiring. Like, you probably get top-notch pay after getting a Michelin star.
Yeah. I wonder how hard they are to keep and how long do they come back. I wonder, like, once you get a star, do they come back and give you a rating for, like, if you get a 1-star, how do you go up to a 2?
Yeah.
And how long does that process to get there? Interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you educating me on the Michelin star. So did you first learn about this when you were watching The Bear? Is that how you kind of started diving into this?
Yeah. I saw them trying to get the Michelin star on The Bear.
Right.
Right. And then I heard, like, I can't remember where I heard it at, but someone was like, did you know the Michelin Star is the same as Michelin Tire?
Oh.
And I was like, and that's when I started like diving into
Yeah.
the history
Like,
of
what?
the
I had
Michelin
no
Star.
idea.
It is, I would strongly suggest if you are into history at all, look into it. Because there's even some interesting stuff around the wars and things like that with the Michelin Guide.
And how? Yeah.
like
I think I remember you telling me that
the
off air.
U.S. printed the Michelin Guide during World War II to give to its soldiers,
like paratroopers and like the guys that were jumping in on D-Day and stuff like that.
A lot of people consider
That's
it
pretty cool.
super important because the maps were so good.
Right. That's wild. All right, so what's wild to me is that this guide came from a tire company, not a car company.
Yeah.
Because you would think you would want people to buy your car and then drive it around. So you give them somewhere to go, right?
Yeah.
That's odd that it came from a tire company.
Yep. It is. But yeah,
good stuff, man.
It was fascinating.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the history lesson.
Yeah.
I want another one of those recently or coming up soon.
Yep.
Let me know.